What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with MMA community goes off on Dan Hooker for fake rumor. This week, reports began to circulate indicating that Dan Hooker and Charles Oliveira were in talks to fight at UFC 305 in Perth. While the reports stemmed from the Hangman himself, fans were disappointed to learn that he completely made up the fight. The MMA community was quick to take aim at Hooker for getting their hopes up and spreading misinformation. As one fan wrote, "So sad that Hooker has to lie to get attention." Another added, "So the UFC lies about matchups and the fighters lie. Where are we supposed to go for accurate information?" Another wrote, "That's why he will always be a journeyman fighter." One referenced previous allegations Hooker raised against Islam Makhachev, writing, "Just like he makes up allegations of cheating for his team's opponents." Another agreed, writing, "We known for a minute Hooker is full of ish. Who remembers the Islam IV situation?" Oliveira himself also shut down the rumors via social media, writing, "People have been booking fights for me that I'm not aware of. Metaverse fights? Maybe." In addition, he also responded to a disappointed fan, who wrote that they wish the fight rumors were true, writing, "Thanks, but they're not." While Oliveira won't be fighting at UFC 305, he was in attendance at the UFC 303 press conference in Vegas this week. While it's unclear what sparked the slew of rumors regarding Oliveira's next fight, it's clear that fans are eager to see him back in the octagon. Next, let's take a look at Jamahal Hill sends a warning to Alex Pereira. Since their main event clash at UFC 300, Jamahal Hill has made it clear that he has unfinished business with Alex Pereira. Since breaking his silence on the knockout weeks after the loss, Hill has continued to take shots at the champ while setting his sights on a rematch. While Sweet Dreams was forced to withdraw from his UFC 303 co-main event bout, he recently doubled down on his plans to pursue a rematch with Pereira, regardless of whether or not Poatan loses to Jiri Prochazka this weekend. While speaking in a video for his YouTube channel, he put Pereira on notice.
Alex has got his own task ahead of him this weekend. He's fighting Jiri Prochazka, defending the title. Best of luck to you in your fight in this rematch with Jiri. Because if you lose, I don't give a if they offer me a title shot. It's me and you. You win, I'm gonna go start the next guy, and I'll see you soon. You lose, I'll see you real soon.
Chael Sonnen was quick to respond, writing, "Straight fire." As Hill went on to explain in the same video, Pereira waving off referee Herb Dean interrupted the flow of the fight and allowed Poatan to cut an angle and close the distance on him while he had stopped fighting at the direction of the referee. As many fans were quick to point out, of course, Hill was the first one to throw a punch after Herb Dean resumed the fight. With Sweet Dreams currently dealing with injuries that forced him out of UFC 303, it'll be interesting to see if the stars align for a rematch between the two in the future. Next up, let's take a look at Dricus Du Plessis will be middleweight GOAT after Israel Adesanya fight. While Dricus Du Plessis is currently preparing for his first title defense, he believes that with a victory over Israel Adesanya later this summer at UFC 305 in Perth, he deserves to be in the conversation for the greatest middleweight of all time. While speaking in a recent interview with Fox West Texas, Du Plessis explained his thought process.
This win for me is, I've always looked at Israel Adesanya as the benchmark. Now, Izzy became champion a long time ago, and I've looked at him and always knew this is where I need to be if I want to be the best in the world. This is the benchmark, and he said it. Like I said, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. This fight for me is going to put me in that position. This is where I take over as one of the greatest to ever do it. This is where my years of building and climbing that ladder is coming to a point where I am now the guy that's one of the greatest to ever do it. Like I said, with Izzy, he's done such incredible things in the sport. So for me, this fight is just like beating Robert Whittaker was. It's a fight that people don't think you're going to win. It's a hard fight. I'm fighting against arguably one of the best middleweights ever. And I have to go out there and prove that I am that guy.
Of course, many fans were quick to disagree with the champion, given that Adesanya defended the belt 5 times during his reign over the middleweight division. In addition, others were quick to point out that Anderson Silva defended the title 10 times from 2007 to 2012, meaning DDP might have some work to do to deserve consideration as the middleweight GOAT. Next, let's take a look at Leon Edwards fires back at Belal Muhammed. Ahead of Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammed's highly anticipated UFC 304 fight in Manchester, Muhammad dropped a bold prediction, revealing that he believes he'll finish the champ when the two share the octagon on July 27th. While Muhammad believes that he's simply Leon Edwards' kryptonite given the stylistic matchup, the champion couldn't disagree more. During a recent interview with Red Corner MMA, he fired back at Muhammad's prediction, telling the #1 contender that he better be prepared to back up all of his trash talk come fight night.
Deluded, he's talking a lot, so make sure you can back it up, Like I said, he's been off for over a year, going through 36 years old fight. The way he talks is like he was winning the first fight, so bit deluded, but like I said, he best be ready. It's going to be a long, tough fight for him in Manchester, so it's going to be good.
As the champion went on to point out, in his eyes, the way Muhammad is talking, one would think he was ahead on the scorecards prior to the infamous eye poke that ended their 2021 fight. When looking at the judges' scorecards from that night, all 3 judges unanimously gave the first round to Edwards prior to the accidental eye poke in the second. Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. Ahead of this weekend's UFC 303 pay-per-view card, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates, starting with Alexa Grasso confirming that she'll be fighting at the Noche UFC event at the Sphere on September 14th. According to the champ, in the event that Valentina Shevchenko does not agree to a trilogy fight on the card, she's prepared to defend her title against Manon Fiorot instead. As Shevchenko has indicated in the past, rather than the rematch taking place at the Sphere following their draw at Noche UFC 2023, she believes it would be fair for the trilogy fight to take place in Kyrgyzstan. This week also saw several fights announced for upcoming cards, with Muhammad Yahya reportedly set to fight Caio Fernandez at the UFC Fight Night Sandhagen vs. Nurmagomedov card on August 3rd. The bout will see Yahya look to bounce back after an October loss to Trevor Peek. On the flip side, Fernandez will be looking to bounce back from a November loss to Mark Diakiese. The following week, Stephanie Luciano and Talita Alencar are reportedly set to compete in the rematch after the Dana White's Contender Series bout in September was scored a draw. While Luciano hasn't fought since, Alencar picked up a split decision win over Rayanne Amanda back in December in her UFC debut. Looking ahead to September, a bout between Jessica Andrade and Natalia Silva is reportedly set for UFC Vegas 97 on September 7th. Andrade will be looking to build on a 2-fight win streak that recently saw her pick up a split decision victory over Marina Rodriguez at UFC 300. On the flip side, Silva will be looking to build on a 5-fight win streak that has seen her go undefeated in the UFC. Last but certainly not least, William Gomez and Joanderson Brito are reportedly set to fight on September 28th on the UFC Paris card, with Gomez looking to build on a 3-fight victory streak inside the octagon that has seen him go undefeated in the UFC so far. On the flip side, Brito will be looking to build on a 5-fight win streak that most recently saw him defeat Jack Shore in May. Next, let's take a look at Dana White talks about Conor McGregor return. While initially there had been hope among fight fans that Conor McGregor's latest injury wouldn't result in a lengthy layoff for the former champ, Dana White has shut down talk of a quick turnaround. Ahead of UFC 303 this weekend, White caught up with Barstool Sports' Robbie Fox, who asked him about a potential date for McGregor's return. According to White, McGregor won't be returning to action in the coming months.
And then my final question, I can't let you out of here without asking for any update on Conor McGregor, when he's going to get back in the octagon. People are saying August, September, maybe October. Is there any update there?
None of the above.
While Michael Chandler seems poised to wait for a fight with McGregor, it's unclear when the bout could take place. Based on White's comments, it seems as though the pair could collide later this year, potentially on the UFC's end-of-year card in December. However, his comments also make it clear that a new date is a long way away from being finalized. Now, let's shift gears to take a look at Sean Strickland is having a public mental breakdown. Sean Strickland and Ian Gary have been going back and forth in the media since late last year. Since then, things have only escalated, with Strickland going so far as to accuse Gary's wife of being a predator who latched onto a rising contender. The comments didn't sit well with Gary's wife, who fired back at Strickland in a video back in March that only poured more fuel on the fire. While Gary had previously had his sights set on a fight with Strickland and had listed the outspoken middleweight on his hit list, it sounds as though he has since moved on from the fight. Ahead of his UFC 303 bout with Michael Venom Page this coming weekend, Gary accused Strickland of being unwell and publicly having a mental breakdown while speaking in an interview with AG Fight.
There's nothing that needs to be discussed when it comes to Sean Strickland. He's just leave him be. Just let him go. I think he's mentally unwell and having a breakdown publicly, and I think we need to leave him be.
The MMA community was quick to weigh in on the situation, with one fan writing, "He's probably correct about Sean being mentally unwell. Sean does have a lot of demons, but I don't think he's having a public mental breakdown because Sean is always saying crazy-ish online. But I can't lie, Gary isn't in the place to say anything. He's got his own issues." Look. Another wrote, "I think that Gary is only a few news cycles removed from being in a meltdown of his own. How easily they forget. Someone that has so much ammunition available should keep his head down for a bit." One member of the MMA community suggested that in the event a fight happens, the buildup will be something else. These two are going to fight at some point, and we're not mentally prepared for the buildup. Another fan took aim at Gary following the comments, writing, "Ian is a good fighter, but has no aura when he speaks. Whether or not the stars align for a fight between the two in the future, only time will tell." Conor McGregor gets emotional after seeing UFC 303 Fight Week take place. Conor took to Twitter to write to his fans about his absence at the event. He said, "I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't in deep pain right now watching Fight Week take place. Deep mental pain. Thank you for the messages of support and encouragement, my peers and fans." Dana White reveals sad news. Dana White wasn't a fan of the show Inside the UFC because of how much behind-the-scenes information was leaked, especially when it came down to how they were treating their fighters like Aljo. However, many fans enjoyed the series because of all the behind-the-scenes stuff we got to witness, like Jon Jones pulling out of the Stipe fight. Sadly, Dana White revealed that the series will be a one-and-done deal and that they won't be doing that again. Here's what Dana had to say.
I'm glad that everybody liked it. I'm glad that they, enjoyed the series, but it's too much behind the curtain for me, and it's disruptive, and there's a lot of things that you really can't show. I mean, what really goes on with Sean, Hunter, and Mick, on phone calls and things like this.
That's the stuff we're the most curious about.
I love the Hunter scene where Hunter gets a deal done for the heavyweight championship in a parking lot in a car. Fun shit. Lene, you can't really go into the Lene, Sean Strickland, how Lene's days go with the Sean Strickland press conference. It's too behind the curtain for me, and it's disruptive, and you have to be very selective in what we really do. But you could go from, department to department to department, and it's all fascinating, incredible stuff, and what happens at our offices every day. And there's 650 employees, and we do everything in-house. So, you could do this forever, and people would be blown away by what goes on every day.
This sucks because many fans were anticipating behind the scenes of everything that went down with Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler cancellation. What are your thoughts on the situation? Let us know down in the comment section below. Top comments. Poatan lives rent-free in Jamahal and Izzy's head. Who else is looking forward to seeing MVP humble Ian Gary? Pereira could be facing a quadriplegic and Israel would still pick the quadriplegic to win. Dude is an absolute hater. Ian Gary is no Kobe. Alex could be fighting a Smurf and Izzy would pick the Smurf.